Imagine living next to a sprawling landfill, the noxious fumes choking the air. Or having your community's only source of drinking water contaminated by industrial waste. Sadly, these scenarios aren't fiction. They're the reality for countless marginalized communities across the globe. This is environmental racism in action. Environmental racism refers to the intentional or systemic practices that place people of color, low-income communities, and indigenous groups at a disproportionate risk from pollution and environmental hazards. This injustice often lurks in plain sight. Polluting factories are built in poor neighborhoods, waste dumps are located near reservations, and infrastructure crumbles in areas where minority groups reside. So why does environmental racism matter? Environmental racism isn't just about aesthetics. It's a matter of life and death. Think of Cancer Alley in Louisiana, a stretch of land along the Mississippi notorious for its high concentration of petrochemical plants that has led to staggering rates of cancer in predominantly black communities. Or consider the devastating impacts of lead poisoning on children in Flint, Michigan, a public health crisis largely tied to the city's aging water infrastructure. The consequences of environmental racism are far-reaching. First, we have health disparities. Exposure to toxic chemicals increases the risk of cancer, asthma, respiratory illnesses, developmental disorders, and a host of other health problems. And there's also the economic hardship. Contaminated communities become less desirable places to live, reducing property values and hindering economic growth for residents. And there's also the erosion of community. Pollution and health hazards can force people to flee their homes, breaking down social networks and community fabric. So now that we understand what environmental racism is, let's talk about the roots of environmental racism. Well, this form of injustice didn't occur by accident. Historical systems of discrimination and segregation played a major role. Redlining practices in the past steered marginalized groups into less desirable areas, often near polluting industries or hazardous waste sites. Even today, these communities may lack the political and economic power to advocate for themselves or resist detrimental development projects. So what can you do? Fighting for environmental justice is everyone's responsibility, and here's how you can make a difference. First, educate yourself. Explore resources like documentaries, news articles, and websites of environmental justice organizations to deepen your understanding of the issue. And then, support grassroots movements. Donate to local groups fighting for environmental justice in affected communities. Volunteer your time or skills. And thirdly, demand action. Contact your elected officials and push for policies that protect vulnerable communities and prioritize sustainable practices. Remember, the fight for environmental justice is also a fight for the health and well-being of our planet. By standing against environmental racism, we work towards a future where everyone can breathe clean air, drink clean water, and thrive in a healthy environment regardless of their race or income.